Hey everyone, how's it going? It is Either Way Randy Chavez coming at you today with a Veve Omi update video. We'll do a little bit of Earth 2 and I guess GrumpyCat as well. Guys, if you're new, welcome. For not, welcome back. I love y'all. Everyone say hello to Dashi. Hello, Dashi. Commenting, liking, and subscribing is a free way to help support the channel. Non-free ways are Patreon and smashing that super thanks button down below. Yeah, just those. So we have a bunch of stuff to go over. This is going to focus on the difference between whales, the 1% and the 99%. And I know that politically there's been a lot of political strife about that because every year, the difference between the 1% and 99%, that does get different because it gets bigger. There's a lot of political strife about that because, the evil 1%. But that rising tide raises all ships. And the reason I bring this up, and I'll go over the rest of my normal stuff in a minute, is because, the dreaded 1%, they go and they pay for a lot of stuff. Like, for example, Tesla. Originally they only made supercars, and then after the 1% went and got their supercars, that gave them enough money to make other cars that were cheaper, and the electric car vehicle. Like, they've literally transformed cars, like not just electric cars. Yes, they were disruptive in that way, but just transform the automobile industry in general, insurance industry, just everything. Even Tesla Energy, they're doing AI now. And that all started because a couple of whales, they wanted some really cool cars. The same thing has happened in collectibles for years. Comics and Crypto just posted a really, really good one saying, did you know that the public record for an original Funko was for this 2-pack Willy Wonka? Here it is right now, if y'all want to take a look. It's a 2-pack Willy Wonka, golden ticket 2-pack. And it says, this sold for $210,000 in July of 2023, and apparently only 10 were ever produced. So how did this market cap compare to David Yu's $15,000 and $40,000 for the all gold and the gold and black? So he had two offers: $15,000 for the number 1 gold, $40,000 for the number 1 gold and black, and that is one. The people that are out there that are going out and saying, oh, hey, Chavez, I did not, he's kind of doing this for clout. He's trying to build hype. Listen, if he wanted to do this, if he wanted to build hype, he would have done it like before Funko sold out. He waited until after they sold out, which I'm pretty sure he knew that. I'm pretty sure we all knew they were going to sell out. But he waited till afterwards to make that post. If he wanted to really get people to FOMO in, he would have done this beforehand. And for those of you that maybe don't know by this point, maybe this is the first time watching me, David is just like the nerdy lot of us. He's just a big nerd. Like, we all speak the same language. And for those of you that don't know, I once paid $80,000 for a Pokemon card, like 3 times higher than anyone else had paid for that card before. And I did so because I knew it was undervalued. David, on his stage, is 12,000 Twitter followers, 12,000 Instagram followers, 20,000 followers over on the X, and then obviously the Veve app account has hundreds of thousands of followers, and this would all get out there. David obviously knows that for him to say, hey, 40,000. It's probably going to be worth more than that in a few years. And he thinks this is a fair amount right now, which, I definitely think it is. So you have a couple people that are going to be like, oh, I'm going to hold it, and, I'm going to make David pay like 100,000. David's very, very fair with his offers. There may be a little wiggle room, but definitely not that much. And be advised, guys, there's not a ton of people that are really going to pay this right now. We are in a bear market. And there's a lot of other things that are probably going to get you a better ROI. So when somebody says, oh, well, Randy, there's these wackos paying $6,000 for logos. It's like your whales could buy it. And yes, they could. But guys, listen, all of my whales except for one, they all have logos because of not necessarily the ROI, although the ROI is huge. The ROI is something that, I think that'll be tens of thousands in the future. But for the most part, why they have them is just because the access. They get to hang out with David and Dan every year. They could do that anyway, but they get to go and say like, hey, here's somebody that owns a multi-billion-dollar company and we could go and have dinner with them. We could go and swap ideas, and we can go and meet. And he obviously knows other people. It's a big networking event. That's why whales go and do it. So I feel like when people strain at like, oh, $6,000, who could ever? A lot of those people, live in these little fish bowls, and they don't really understand. Like, I even had I remember a buddy of mine's mom when she discovered that I spent thousands of dollars on Dashi over there. She's like, oh, I could never. But again, like, I've had offers for Dashi, in the 5 figures, and things are undervalued. Some people just, they can't see the forest for the trees are in the way, and that's really a lot what's happening here. Some people are just going like, okay, listen, you have opposite ends of them, both sides of the spectrum. You have the people that are like, yeah, this isn't worth it. He's just, doing this for one person. It's not really worth it. He's just trying to create hype. Obviously, we just, kind of fought back on that. And then you have the other people that are saying like, oh, like nobody else is really going to buy this. And fair point. There's, if any one of my whales said, hey, what if I really wanted this? It's a 1-on-1. Would you advise me offering $45,000 for it? I don't tell them, well, listen, if it's just about ROI, probably better off buying Omi. And again, we'll get into that in a second. And if somebody really wanted to, I'm sure they could do this. They could go and say, hey, listen, guys, I will go and give out $2,000 to any unredeemed, one of 50, these gold and black ones. Okay, well, if it's unredeemed, okay, $2,000 for it. I just spent $150, $162 shipping, whatever. I'm going to 10x my money, which is pretty nice, and I get part of a deal. Cool. Well, what does that do? Like, Chavez, you're talking about this guy spending $100,000. You said not to even spend $40,000. You said to buy Omi. Well, here's the thing: if you spend $100,000, let's say everyone agrees. Okay, well, you're going to get that, number 1 of 50. And then that's obviously it's 40,000 back right there, so it's 40% back. And then let's say the other ones, and we're just talking about the digital. We are just talking about the digital here. The other ones you're probably going to be able to get, I'm going to say at least 1,000, but probably more like 1,500. But let's be super conservative and say 1,000. From number 10 to number 50, or 11 to 50. Okay, well that's another 40,000 that you get back. Okay, well what about numbers 2 through 10? Okay, well those are probably going to be several $1,000s. You'd be in the black. So I would tell them if they want to do something like that, and make a play there, they could. And that's not including the physical. That is not including the physical. That's also going to be worth several $100s each. If not, like I said, thousands. So anyway, moving on. You even have other people that are going to defend David in the group, saying David is a diehard collector and wants those pieces in his collection. Awesome opportunity for someone that receives them and wants an extra 15 or 40K in their life. Be advised, David won't be able to get both of these just because it's not 1 to 50, 1 to 350, it's just one of these variants is going to get the 1. That'd be really laughable if it was the common, if it was just the Mark II, the red and gold. That'd be funny if that had happened, but only one of these variants is going to get the 1. Everyone else, it could be 2, 3, 4, whatever. I don't know if David's going to offer anything for the other ones. He might, but at that point, you might have other whales coming in and doing a bidding war as well. We have other people saying this is genius move to offer a bounty, and this is what Fanatics and Dave and Adams have done this year in the sports card hobby. Absolutely genius on Yu's part. Veve should actually try and buy back a bunch of the low mints at a big price. I don't really think they need to do that just because they have they have the 1 through 40s already, or 1 through like 30s, 32s, whatever. The licensor or artist or whoever, they get like, some of the sub 41s. They don't get like a ton of them though. Well, I did say I would get into Omi and Earth 2, and we do have a little bit here now. There's a Crypto Arya had gone on and posted on the X just talking about Essence, when they should launch. Him and Wes kind of got into it a little bit. And Arya said, what crypto will perform better in the next bull run, Omi or Earth 2's Essence? So I had to go and kind of do an explanation here. I said, well, listen, this is a good question. It's hard to say since Essence does not have a concrete value yet. The only reference we have is how much Essence people paid for mentors. But back then, few people knew what they were doing, so I wouldn't count that. Omi will likely 100x from here, and if Essence came out and was valued at 1 cent, then yeah, it would do 100x from there, and could even do it 1000x, because there's nearly 5 billion in max supply. So having a $5 billion market cap is more than doable for Earth 2's Essence in a bull run, in a bull market. Heck, it could 200x from 1 penny. However, there's less than $500 million in the supply currently, so things could get wonky as they haven't announced full utility, or even when Essence would be launched. So for example, let's say 5 billion is their max supply ever, and currently there's like 250 million in the circulate. There's not a lot at all. I don't know how people are going to want to calculate that. Do we calculate, okay, here's this just in the circulating supply, and then this would be fully diluted market cap? We don't know how they're going to do it, how much burns they're going to have. So like I said, it could get a little squirrely. So I said, I don't think Essence is launched before 6 months from now. It depends on what it's launched at. If it's already at $1 from the starting point, it might only do a 5x from there. But again, that $25 billion market cap is a lot. So it really depends on what Essence is going to be launched at. And I said, either way, he'll be a multimillionaire from it. And then Wes was talking about just Omi in general, and I was like, okay, well we'll talk about Omi. Crypto Aria says, it could be argued that Omi is backed by nothing. There's no utility yet. It exists separately from Veve, and is mostly correct, but not really. So we're going on. Let's say, technically there is one form of utility currently. If you have it on your Veve app, you get more MCP points each day. That being said, we can't use MCP points yet, so currently the utility is just preparing for the next form of utility. It's like, when you had, when you had Batman vs. Superman or Justice League. I don't know, they were trying to figure out the plot for the next movie, without figuring out the plot for that movie. Anyway, I said, the next form is going to be exceedingly cool, and being able to use Omi and MCP points to get a better chance at landing good drops on Veve. Then we'll get Omi to accessory, which means that we'll be able to buy items in the Veveverse with it. And then we'll get Omi to gem, meaning we'll be able to buy gems with our Omi, and then Omi to NFT, not including the fees that would be incurred and burned in general. But I said eventually we'll be able to purchase land with our Omi, so it will have a lot more utility than almost any other altcoin, maybe except Essence, depending on what Earth 2 does. And again, that's just that. And one more thing about the whales. I know some people are really thinking that, and this is their honest opinions, that they're like, oh, this is just hype, it's not real. Guys, some people is like, oh, $10,000, I'm not doing that. So, like $100,000, not worth it. There's some people that don't get out of bed unless it's like a 7 or 8 figure thing. Like art goes for 9 figures. That's 100 or hundreds of millions of dollars. A lot of people have no clue. And just because there aren't too many of those people in Veve right now, doesn't mean that there won't be. There will. There's a number 41 Anna from Frozen on sale for $800. Do I think that Omi is going to be a better ROI? Yes, I do. It's just my thoughts. But do I also think that buying $800 for Anna right now, that you could get thousands or even like a 5-figure amount in the future? Yeah, I think that as well. I think you absolutely could. And speaking of which, for Grumpy Cat, people are like, oh, listen, Randy's not a lot of volume on here. And, even if somebody wants to buy a couple thousand, it's a lot of money. I feel like a lot of people are forgetting that whales exist. And one whale could just put in $100,000. That gets other whales to come in, and that starts the run. It could be, I'm not going to say it's starting a bull run, but that's what happens when FOMO. Again, people don't want to, like Crypto Rain says all the time, people don't want to buy when it's down here and it's boring. People want to buy, they only want to buy after it's already 2x or 6x. They chase those green candles. Green candles bring more green candles. You get one whale that comes into Grumpy Cat, throws in 6 figures, which is very easy to do for whales. Other whales come in, and then everyone FOMOs, and it becomes a crazy thing. And that might be what David wants to do here. It'd be like, hey, I'm going to put this offer out there. Clearly people like me and other influencers are going to talk about it. And then, that might get the eye of other people. Oh, wow, this person's offering tens of thousands of dollars for this particular thing. what other hidden gems are here that maybe nobody knows about, they're overlooking, or that just it's a bear market and everyone's got the bear market blues and they just don't happen to have, they have that recency bias. Oh, what has happened recently will continue to happen. And that's not the case. It's really not the case. Anyway, guys, that's it for me. Please comment, like, and subscribe. Comments are good for the YouTube algorithm. Everyone say bye-bye, Dashi. Bye-bye, Dashi. I love you guys. Goodbye. I'm so hungry.